Hey, what's up guys? Ty Hansen here from Fit Dad. And first of all, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. Now in this video, I promise you I'm going to show you exactly how to lose the weight for good without giving up any of the favorite foods or snacks that you love, without doing any long workouts. Now, unfortunately for me, I learned both of those the hard way, right? So that's kind of what I want to share with you today. All the dumb stuff I did and mistakes I made and stuff I've learned. I want to share that with you so you can get really, really quick results and get on that accelerated path, right? Which is what we all want. But I know maybe you've seen this headline before and you're like, oh great, here we go again. This dude promising the world. But I'm here to tell you that not only can you not, or can I show you how to get results without giving up foods and snacks you love, but I'm here to tell you that you can't keep results over time by restricting yourself and giving up those things that you love. And the reason for that is restriction diets simply just don't work. I mean, how many times have you cut out the carbs or cut out the sugars or cut out the fats or done all these things and you were able to lose, some weight over a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month or 6 weeks, whatever it was, and then you just went back to the way you've always eaten, and what happened? You ballooned, you put that weight right back on, and worse, some cases, maybe you put on even more weight, right? Because you're so frustrated and so pissed off and just so over it. So that's what I want to tell you, is that restriction diets don't work, and I want to get it through your head. Do not restrict yourself. We just got to learn how to live, within our means, right? And still enjoy ourselves. That's exactly what I want to talk about now. So let's get into this. So 3 things that I want to tell you that matter when it comes to nutrition. Number 1, calories matter, right? And this is just science. So, it's just the way it works, right? We lose weight when we burn more than we take in. We stay the same if that's even. And we gain weight when we eat more than we burn, right? That's just science. So you may have been told before, oh, just eat clean. That's all you got to do is eat clean. Well, first of all, what is clean, right? I mean, define that for me. And second of all, so what's the difference in me eating 3 chicken breasts a day, 5, 7, 10? At what point do I start putting on weight? Just because it's clean doesn't mean that I'm not going to gain weight. So let's just have a little common sense here. Calories do matter. It's exactly how we maintain or lose or gain weight is through that deficit or that surplus, right? So calories do matter. Number 2, macros matter. And if you're not familiar with macros, we're talking about carbs, so carbohydrates, fats, proteins. Now, all of these have a specific purpose, right? In our diet, not only for aesthetically, but internal, how we operate and how we produce and how we have energy and all these things, right? So to say we need to cut out, any one of those groups it's just crazy. You've probably been told, oh, carbs are bad for you. You've probably been told, oh, fats are bad for you. But I'm here to tell you that you need all these, and you need to get these dialed in so you can get the absolute best body and that best internal function possible. So what I normally recommend as a good starting point is 40, 30, 30. So carbs 40, fats 30, proteins 30. So as a percent of our diet, that's kind of a good baseline to start with. 40% of my calories are going to come from carbs, 30 from fats, 30 from proteins. I actually have a nice little calculator in my program. So it'll tell you exactly, how many calories you need to eat and macros. But generally speaking, it's pretty close, right? So calories matter, right? We can agree on that. Macros matter, right? My goal is to turn you into the biggest superhuman possible. And again, I'm not only talking about aesthetically, but just a machine, right? Where you burn calories and you're productive and you can stay focused, like all these things, and you have the energy to bring it all day, every day. All these things, they come from this balance, right? And the third thing is quality matters, right? So I told you not to give up, that you can't give up any of the foods you love, right? You have to keep doing those things. But let's use common sense here. That doesn't mean that you just sit home and eat brownies and cookies and Pop-Tarts all day, right? So the rule that I like to live by and that I recommend, I think it's a very good starting point, and I think it's something that you can maintain over time, is the 80-20 rule. So 80% as clean as possible, and 20% we have some fun, right? So 80% of our calories are those lean proteins, those lean meats, those quality carbohydrates, those vegetables, those good fruits, right? And the other 20%, we're gonna have a little fun, right? Because I don't care who you are, for me to tell you to totally take something out of your diet, I mean, you have to keep eating the food you love. Now, I'm not telling you to go try stuff you don't like, but guys, just eat the food you love and figure out how to make all this work, right? This is the only way, I really believe, this is the only way that you can sustain results over time, is if you monitor your calories, your macros are dialed in, and you're eating good, clean, quality food most of the time, right? But also having some fun a small percentage of the time, right? Now let's take some time to talk about fitness and workouts. Now, like I said, I learned a lot of this stuff the hard way. On the nutrition side, I restricted myself from, I had periods where I didn't eat carbs and I didn't eat fat, did all this dumb stuff. And guess what? I was able to lose some weight, but I put it right back on, right? So it was a wash. But also when it comes to exercise, I was able to lose like 30 or 40 pounds pretty quickly. But then I found myself in this trap, right, where I was doing these long runs and I was away from my wife and away from my kids, and then my body was beat up and I lost a bunch of my strength, and it took me a while to find, to find the formula. But what I want to tell you is it's not about the quantity of your workout. So that's the number one. Quality over quantity. I mean, just think about it. Just because you go into a gym for an hour or two doesn't mean that you burned a set amount of calories and that you're able to get stronger, right? You got to put in the work, right? And to me, I want to put in as much work possible in a short period of time, right? So, people always say, well, what's the best form of exercise? And what I'm here to tell you is all of them, right? So number one, lift weights, right? If you're not lifting weights, you're wrong, right? This helps us in our day-to-day life. This helps increase testosterone, which, as you know, we lose over time. This helps us, muscle just turns, the more muscle we have, the more, the higher our metabolic rate's going to be, the more calories are going to burn, right? So, it helps with our bone density. So literally guys, there's no arguing that lifting weights is going to help you get results, right? If you have some mobility issues, if you have some mobility issues, or you have some other, injuries that kind of hinder you, well, just do the best with what you can. Do the best with what you got, okay? Number two, cardio. Now, you need cardio too. So I'm not saying you only need to lift weights, right? You also need to be cardio. You need to have the cardiovascular, right, for your heart, for day-to-day functions, day-to-day tasks, and just because you never know what's going to come up. So in day-to-day scenarios or in life scenarios, you need to be ready to move, to run a decent distance without being totally winded, right? Hopefully that kind of sinks in. I don't have to convince you too much of that. Number three, we need a blend of these two, right? So my workouts combine, weightlifting, cardio, and then kind of a blend of the two. You can think of a boot camp or high intensity or CrossFit, whatever functional, quick functional movement. So whatever name you want to give it, right? We're kind of combining these two. But I'm here to tell you right now that it's not about the length of your runs or how long you're on the road or how long you're in the gym, right? What matters is the quality of what you're doing, right? And the intensity of what you're doing it at. So in the previous, in the first part of the video, we talked about how calories matter, and to kind of go on that point for a little bit, if I know that running 3 miles is going to yield 300 to 400 calories burn, right? That's going to take by the time I get dressed, go run that, get back, that's going to take 20 or 30 minutes depending on who you are, right? And so, especially if you're doing that on top of your workout routine, right? Because you feel like you have to burn this weight. So doesn't it make sense to just kind of control what goes in first, right? So if we can eat to perform and eat to fuel our bodies, but not eat all the extra crap, so then doesn't it make more sense and give us more time to spend, with our families and doing other things we love rather than pounding the pavement by just not consuming those extra calories in the first place, right? So we don't have to feel like we have to burn them off. So hopefully you see what I'm saying. So when it comes to fitness, quality definitely matters over quantity. Like I said, I learned this the hard way. I was doing long runs. My body was beat up. I lost muscle mass. And honestly, I got to a point where I was kind of skinny fat, right? So I had this weight that I just could not lose, right? Because I wasn't lifting weight and I wasn't varying up my routine, right? Guys, so guys, I hope you took a lot of that in and a lot of that really made sense to you and hit home. So just to reiterate, number one, restriction diets don't work. You absolutely cannot give up the foods you love, and I would never, ever, ever, ever recommend you doing so. We just got to find that balance point. We got to find our daily caloric needs. We got to try to stick to that as much as we can, which really leads in to the second half of what we talked about, on the exercise and fitness side, is that hopefully will be a little refreshing. That you don't feel like you're way overeating, so you have to go compensate by running 10 miles on the road or staying in the gym for 1 to 2 hours. Feel like you have to you just have to work out because you just don't know. You're in this state of I don't know, so I just feel like longer is better. Longer is not better. I learned that the hard way, and I also learned that restriction diets, they don't work. Like I said, I've cut out the carbs, I've cut out the sugar, I've cut out the fats, and while at certain points in my life I was able to get some quick results, when I reverted back to the way I was originally eating, I just ballooned. I put all that right back on. Guys, so thanks again for watching this. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at any time. I want your feedback. I want to hear your concerns. I want to hear your challenges and your frustrations and what you're struggling with. So thanks again, guys, for taking the time to watch this, and I'll be in touch with you soon.